A flashlight suddenly clattered to the floor, and Mary immediately spun the light away. Thank goodness her reflexes were quick enough that the kidnappers didn't spot her. But then another kidnapper sensed something was off and flicked on all the lights before walking over to check the foot of the bed. Mary squeezed her eyes shut and curled up into a tight ball, too terrified to imagine what would happen next. Fortunately, the kidnappers' attention was completely focused on the bed, where their boss lay sprawled out. It turned out that the moment they'd burst into the house, Mary's boyfriend had heard the commotion and immediately grabbed a baseball bat, rushing out to confront them. Caught off guard, the kidnappers' leader had taken a vicious hit and tumbled down the stairs, where shattered glass pierced right through his body. Now he was bleeding heavily. Mary knew in her heart that her boyfriend was probably in serious trouble too. At this thought, tears began to well up in her eyes, but she quickly realized that tears hitting the floor would make noise, so she forced herself to hold them back. Just when Mary was almost ready to give up hope, a turning point appeared. The kidnappers were sent off to clean up the blood, leaving only Mike to watch over the boss. Seeing their leader writhing in agony, Mike was about to search online for pain relief methods when he accidentally knocked Mary's backpack to the floor. When she spotted her iPhone 17 inside, Mary felt a surge of hope. While Mike was completely absorbed at the computer, she carefully picked up a wooden stick and tried to hook the backpack toward herself. But the stick was too thick on one end, and despite trying for a full 2 hours, she couldn't manage it. Seeing that Mike was still glued to his computer screen, Mary took a deep breath and risked poking her head out from under the bed. After confirming she hadn't been spotted, she grew bolder and slowly reached out to grab the backpack. But just as she was about to drag it back to safety, the boss's hand suddenly slipped and fell. Mike spun around at the sound, but luckily Mary had already pulled back under the bed. Though she'd successfully gotten the backpack, she was so shaken that she didn't dare move a muscle. It wasn't until someone came upstairs to talk with Mike that Mary carefully pulled out her phone and frantically started typing a distress message. But halfway through, her iPhone 17 died from a drained battery. Her one lifeline to survival had just vanished into thin air. Mary had originally snuck over to see her boyfriend just to discuss grabbing some KFC together, never expecting to find herself in such deadly danger. If her reflexes hadn't been so sharp, she probably would have been killed by the kidnappers already. But then, two kidnappers slowly approached the bedside. Turns out Mike had found a solution. By propping up one end of the bed, the wound would stop bleeding. He had his companions bring over some books to place under the bed frame. With discovery looming, Mary had no choice but to close her eyes and wait for death to come.
1, 2, 3.
Wait. Your wife. She's a doctor.
Mary froze in place. She hadn't expected anyone else in the house to still be alive. 3 minutes later, her boyfriend's mother was dragged upstairs. The kidnappers ordered her to help stop the boss's bleeding immediately, but the mother seemed to already know Mary was hiding under the bed. She deliberately dropped her watch on the floor and pretended to crouch down to pick it up. Sure enough, both women spotted each other under the bed. Even though the mother disapproved of her son's relationship with Mary, right now she could only count on Mary to save the entire family. Looking for an opportunity, she deliberately slowed down her movements. By dawn, she was slowly pulling the glass shards from the boss's body. The excruciating pain left him gasping for breath. The kidnappers didn't notice the slight smile playing at the corners of the mother's mouth. She was doing this to make the boss bleed out faster. Once he was completely